And again, the floor is yours, Dr. Mayberry-Mayes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitch, so much. I certainly appreciate the invitation and the opportunity to speak with the Unity Coalition. Hi, Deb, Christy, Zeb, and others who are watching this after the actual interview. As mentioned, my name is Skylar Mayberry-Mayes, and I was appointed to the Des Moines Public School Board in April of 2024 due to the passing of the late Terry Caldwell Johnson, who served as the school board representative in this seat for nearly 18 years. So I knew I was coming in filling really large shoes, but I was extremely fortunate because for nearly 8, 9 years, I knew Terry personally as a friend, as a mentor, and in our other world, as her boss, as serving as the board member for Oak Ridge neighborhood. I had a conversation with Terry several years ago about pursuing this opportunity because she planned on this being the last term that she would want to fulfill with school board, and she was looking for someone who could stand on her shoulders. So, although this was in the plan, it came a lot quicker than I had expected. So, appointed in April of 2024, and I'll be running this year on the slate for 2025. A little bit about myself personally. I am an Iowa native, and I have been collectively in Des Moines now for nearly 15 years. This is my second time in Des Moines post college. My family moved to Des Moines when I was in fifth grade, and I attended Park Avenue Elementary School and then sixth and seventh grade at Merrill Middle School as well. And then we left and we moved back to the Quad Cities where I finished high school in the Davenport Community School District. After graduating from college at the University of Northern Iowa with a degree in finance, I moved back to Des Moines, sight unseen, for a job at Bankers Trust. It was the very first career that I pursued, and I was really fortunate to be able to come back. However, the second time I came back to Des Moines, I did not know really anyone here. None of my family was here anymore. None of the people that I knew as friends were still here anymore. So it was me and the HR leader that were here in Des Moines. And that's what brought me here. Throughout that time, being here, not knowing a whole lot of people or a lot about the community necessarily, it drove me to get really involved in this community. And I was fortunate to work for a community bank that was already invested in the community. But at that point, I began to get involved with organizations like Oak Ridge Neighborhood, Big Brothers Big Sisters, United Way, and several other organizations that were primarily focused around youth serving initiatives and education. So, although my background was in finance and I spent the last 10 years of my career in the financial services space, about in 2019, about 6 years ago, I made the decision that I wanted to transition my career and align it with my life professionally and personally. So, I made the decision in 2019, after 10 years of being in financial services, to leave corporate America and to pursue another degree in education. Additionally, at that time, I decided to go back into work part time in education as an adjunct instructor at the University of Northern Iowa. I pursued my PhD at Drake University in education in 2019 and I commenced in 2014. And at that point, after commencing and defending, I decided to go full time into education to align, as I mentioned, my passions with who I was as a person and my career. So I currently lead the Jacobson Institute at Grandview University. It is an institute that's primarily focused on upskilling and continued learning opportunities in non-degree seeking ways. So the learners that I work with vary from upper level high school students to those who are pivoting in their retirement, still looking to be educated without the desire or the barriers of going back to school full time. So we focus on a lot of the skills as it relates to jobs and workforce, everything from emotional intelligence to artificial intelligence and literally everything in between. But it's been a beautiful blend of being able to do that work and lead that body of work and also serve on the Des Moines School Board because there's an initiative and there's a lot of interest from the current generation of students that have a desire to continue to learn, but don't have a desire to go the traditional college pathway. And that's really the impetus behind a lot of my purpose of serving on the school board is really providing opportunities for those who are oftentimes unvoiced, overlooked, and just are still exploring what they want to do with their life thereafter. So I will yield. That was about 5 minutes, Mitch, and
Yeah.
open it up for any questions at this point, or if I
Okay.
can elaborate.
No, we have two questions. First question, I'll give it to you both at once. One is all children should feel safe in school. Specifically, how can the board make sure they are really safe both physically and emotionally? So that's question one. Question two, how can the district manage shrinking financial resources? How do we protect instruction and still provide critical supports?
Yeah, no, great questions. I'll answer the first one first around the safety of our students. It's critical. We have to make sure our students feel safe in the classrooms and in the buildings. It's really difficult to learn in a space when you're worried about so many other things. Beyond safety, there are a lot of issues and a lot of complexities with our students and our families within Des Moines Public Schools, but also nationally. Some of the ways in which we as a school district have addressed some of this is by ensuring that we have policies and procedures in place that make sure students know and parents know that their students are protected at the times when they're with us in the schools. We are we're very intentional about ensuring that background checks are done for employees as well as volunteers of the district, as well as community partners that choose to volunteer with the district as well. But I'd say the most important thing is being able to foster a culture of inclusion and foster a culture of being and feeling safe so that students can actually learn. And that starts in house. That requires leadership to demonstrate that. That requires teachers to also be able to feel safe. If our teachers don't feel safe and our staff don't feel safe, that then transcends to the students as well. So making sure that not only the students feel safe directly, but those that they're interacting with every single day also feel safe within the schools. Safety ranges a lot. There's the physical safety, there's psychological safety, there's emotional safety. Um, I'd like to share one of the examples that I'm most proud of recently that I decided to enact with the Des Moines School Board, and it was really around the sensitivity of deportation that our country is experiencing. So one of the things I shared, particularly for families, as it relates to our public forums for the school board, our agendas historically for Des Moines School Board during the public forum, we ask family members to come up, state their name, and state their address, their home address publicly, and then we post this on social media, post it on our YouTube live page for everyone in the world to know about it. However, it wasn't required information or necessary information. So one of the first things that I asked and one of the first things that I pushed on our school board was we don't need this information. It's a like to know versus a need to know. So going forward, we're not going to require those types of things anymore because it's stopping certain people from feeling safe and it's stopping certain voices from wanting to voice their concern or their questions to the district. I
Well,
can
thank
pause
you.
there. What's
No, we
that?
go ahead. We give you a couple more minutes. Want to kind of listen to more of about the budget constraints and how can you provide the same services that you have in the past over these next couple of years because probably the budget cutting hasn't stopped yet and you really haven't formalized your budget yet. I know you're close to it, but that's still to come.
Correct. So yeah, there's always budget constraints as it relates to public school districts. That is not a new issue. Someone that probably served on the board 20 years ago would say they've experienced something similar. One thing that I am very fortunate to be able to have and to lean on is a background in finance where I understand budgets very intimately, and a background in social responsibility where I understand the importance of building community relations that are effective. One of the ways in which I feel like we can balance this budget or we can make sure that services aren't going away that are necessary is by truly leveraging our community partners. We have a lot of community partners with expertise in a lot of different areas, whether that be through training, through mentoring, through tutoring, through just wraparound support services. We as a district have to do a better job of engaging our community as well as inspiring them to want to do more with the district and understanding how do they fit in to the grand vision of this district. I know that the district has certainly leveraged community partners in the past, but there's still opportunity there. And as mentioned, I think sometimes it's just really about someone internal, someone that has the understanding of what we're doing as a district that also is engaged with the community, has to be that bridge builder between the two of them. So that's what I'd say I'm probably most excited about is the opportunity for community, our business sector, and our school district to work collectively together to be able to address some of these things.
Okay, we're going to give you 2 more minutes, 2 additional minutes to kind of talk about yourself and your campaign. And that, now I'm going to take the last minute, close it out.
Perfect. So my campaign is centered around three pillars: improving, involving, and inspiring, which I hope that you've heard a little bit about in some of my responses. When I talk about improving, it's really focused on improving the student outcomes of our student population and improving the mental, the physical, the psychological safety and being of our educators in the buildings. It's critical that if we don't improve, we won't retain. And at this point, it's important for us to retain our students, retain our talent, and retain our leaders within the district. That second pillar, if, involve, that one is really more focused on what I just elaborated on around community engagement. Um, Being able to involve our families, being able to involve the business sector and business community, as well as our community partners, is going to be critical for us to be able to continue to do the work that we've been doing, given the budget constraints and challenges that we're receiving. And then the last piece is about inspiring. I truly believe that demonstrating exemplary uh, positioning, demonstrating who we are as people, demonstrating excellence goes a long way. There are certainly things that are learned within the classroom, but sometimes things are learned just by purely observing. So I always want to make sure that in my role as a school board member, rather that be to community, to the educators that are watching us, to the students that I interact with, or the teachers I interact with, that I am modeling what it looks like to inspire academic excellence. And I think that's extremely important because regardless of whatever you do, you can have as much money in the world as you want. If you're not actively trying to inspire the populations that need it, the dollars absolutely mean nothing. So for me, as mentioned, it's really about improving, involving, and inspiring throughout Des Moines Public Schools.